Today, we are going to be talking about how to improve your bottom line. And, MSPs out there, we talk a lot about, what services are we offering and how are we getting new customers and, how are we building this business? Because ultimately, that's what your MSP is. You are a business and you are here to increase your revenue. And so we're going to talk about improving your MSP's bottom line today. I'm Crystal Henkle. I'm the sales manager here at Syncro. So we've got some fun stuff to talk through. So a couple things, just a quick agenda here. We are going to talk about, the products and services that you're offering, but also the products and services that you might be missing out in offering. We're going to talk about how there's like a really unique correlation of making more money, but also making more money by actually just saving your own time. I often talk to MSPs that, don't necessarily value their own time as much as they should. So we're going to talk about how we can streamline and automate some of your processes. In addition to that, another way to continue to increase your revenue, but also increase your customer service for your customers so they have a direct contact to you, because we know that the easier it is for them to contact you, those could be billable hours, they might be having an issue, whether you're replacing hardware. So you want to make it as easy as possible for your MSP to get hold of you. And lastly, kind of auditing what tools are we using? Are we being the most efficient that we can? And so with that said, let's go ahead and hop right in. So one of the things we were gonna kind of show today is identifying those opportunities. So, I don't know how many of you MSPs, have a system in place where you're tracking, okay, what hardware does this person have throughout their organization, or what software does everyone have? And again, like I'm mentioning, what software do people not have can be an important question as well. So what I want to do is I kind of want to hop over right here into my Syncro instance. We're going to be talking about this in kind of general terms, meaning, how to increase that bottom line for your MSP. And then, of course, being a representative of Syncro, I want to show you how, some of those benefits translate to using our software. So one of those things, and I keep mentioning it, where like just coming back to the screen, talking through inventory management and proactive upgrades. There's a few things that I'd like to show you here. So one thing, we do like to have access to our machines and access to, how they're dispersed against our customers and that sort of thing. So, there's a really cool asset aging report that I like to just show. And this is just a way to really be able to provide a report for your customers and really push if there are some software or some hardware updates that are required across their organization. So, you've got, like, for example, in this report, you have some, machines that are outdated a little bit. You've got some areas that you probably could upsell this customer. So this is just a unique way to be able to quickly, from a bird's eye level, establish, what is this customer using? Do you have some opportunities there? And in this day and age, of course, I'd be remiss to not mention that a lot of this has to do with the software that they have on their computers and different ways to upsell and that kind of thing. So I want to kind of talk through a couple things with that. So one being, I'm here in our assets and RMM screen. you can create a saved asset search here. And it's worth just noting that like you can, as I'm scrolling down, we've created a lot of them, but if we go to create a new one, you can see like, okay, what computers are, running a certain operating system. If you want to see everything that's running Windows 7, because, hey, I want to be able to send a mass email out to all of these MSPs that have clients with Windows 7s, because we need to upgrade those. You can do that. So not only can you run like an audit of hardware, but you can also run an audit of, different applications. Should all computers have this specific application? Who's running Office 365, all of these things. In addition to that, of course, like a huge one, we're very security conscious, as everyone should be. We want to know, who's running what antivirus is on machines at any given time. So it's really important to kind of take a look at that. In addition to that, when you create those saved asset searches, there's like a ridiculous amount of things you can do with them. It's worth just showing kind of the example that I just gave, that if you wanted to create a saved asset search of everyone that had a Windows 7 machine, for example, you could create that list, and then you could hop over here, you could create a custom campaign, and then you could use that specific RMM asset search. So all of the Windows 7 machines, for example, send an email, hey, I'm ready, let's upgrade your machine, I'm offering this sort of deal or something like that. So it's just a really proactive way to not only increase your bottom dollar, but really help your customers. Make sure that they're running all of the softwares that they should be running. Make sure that their hardware is up to date. So there's a lot of really neat things. And from a customer standpoint, they don't know what they don't know. So getting advice from their MSP, a professional that knows what they're looking at and has a report or data to back that up, that can be very, very powerful. So let's kind of keep on moving here. Now let's talk about automating processes. So this section I'm going to try to not like spend an entire hour on, because this is the foundation that Syncro is built on. Like, how do we make things easier? How do we make things more efficient, quick? And how do we bring in those bills every single month? Like, how do we increase that reoccurring revenue? So let's start there, because we're talking about dollars, right? So if we go, I'm going to hop right into invoices. Actually, I want to show you just an example of a reoccurring invoice and all of the amazing things you can automate right here within Syncro. So I'm just going to hop into one, just so you can see the options. I'm not going to build one from scratch, but it is very, very quick and easy to do. So you can, of course, have different templates. You can choose when you want it to run, whether it's billing in arrears or advance. An amazing thing about Syncro is that it does not matter what your billing model is. We're going to try to streamline that for you. So, for example, if you bill for time and material at the end of the month, we have an amazing setting. You can actually just pull in any pending ticket charges onto this reoccurring invoice. So if this invoice is running on the last day of the month, you can have it pull in all pending ticket charges for that month automatically. Don't even have to do anything. You can also choose, we've added this where you can choose, I actually only want to bring in pending ticket charges if they've been resolved on the ticket. So additional settings there to just continue to make your life a lot easier. We also cover prepaid hours really well. So if you sell some block hours, you could have them automatically clear, or if not, they'll roll over. A few other things here that it's worth noting. So we've got different reoccurring line item types, and we're talking about, hey, how do I make sure I'm billing my customers for all of the things that I'm doing for them? So a lot of times, there's just untracked things that just don't end up on the invoice, or they're not dynamic or automated. So if one of your customers gets a new employee and now that endpoint, you're now managing an additional endpoint. If you don't have dynamic billing, you have to manually go in there and update your billing. So we've given you these amazing options. So not only can you bill on basically, so I've got an asset and RMM counter, you could either bill on every device that has a machine with an agent installed on it. You could go further than that. You could say, I actually only want to dynamically bill for all of the, specific types of machines. So you could use that saved asset search. This is pulling from the same list that I was able to build out an advanced mailer campaign based upon my Windows 7 machines. And so it's pulling from that saved asset search. And then again, of course, you can just use asset type if you're going to be dynamically billing for anything with the agent installed on it. In addition to that, we're seeing more and more MSPs are actually billing per contact. So this is also incredibly powerful. So when you create a customer in Syncro, you can then, all of the employees or however their organization is set up, you can add those as contacts and assign assets to contacts. The reason that I find this really, really important is that, in our current environment, we have people working from home. So you might be managing a computer at home and a computer at work. And instead of charging per endpoint now, I do feel like I'm seeing a lot of MSPs shifting to, per employee or per contact billing. This is a way to dynamically do that. So if someone, your organization, they hire someone, they bring them in, they've got a home computer and a work computer or whatever the setup is, you're billing per cut, like that actual person, not the number of devices. It's also just worth noting here that within Syncro, we do have Splashtop built right into our pricing, but you can upsell your customers for the work from home licenses as well. And again, dynamically bill for that. So with a click of a button, you don't have to worry about missing out on adding things to the bill or anything like that. It'll automatically do that for you. Last thing I'd like to mention here when it comes to automation and automation for selling, services or any sort of software, we have an amazing integration with Pax8. And that dynamically will update recurring invoices as well for like Microsoft, like Office 365 licenses, for example. As we know, those, come and go, and it's hard to keep up to date, especially if you have large customers. And so you can automate that really, really well also. Let's see here. Okay, so this is talking about the actual dollars. How are you making sure you're getting paid on a monthly basis, for example? Let's kind of just walk through the other side of this. How are you making more money by saving time and automating some of your processes? So with that said, let's go ahead. I'm going to hop back over to the assets and RMM screen. I wonder how many of you are thinking like, there are certain tasks that you find that you're doing every day and it's annoying, and all of a sudden added up, that's an hour and a half there, an hour over here, and you're thinking, man, I'm spending a lot of time doing these tasks that, seem like they should or could be automated. So I want to give just a very general example here. We have automated remediation built right into Syncro. If you create a new automation, you can actually you can set your conditions. So this can be based upon an RMM trigger that comes into the system. So you've got your Syncro agent on the machine, say it hits a low hard drive space. You could say, trigger category is, and then you could go down and say, let's see, hard drive space. So now you've got one condition set. You can continue on here. Maybe you only want this automation to run if it's a certain operating system. Maybe this, like what you have planned for here, wouldn't work if that was a Windows 7 machine, or you don't care to remediate it. So let's say all Windows 10 machines. And then from here, this is where the magic happens. So this alert, it triggers. You could have Syncro automatically create a ticket for you. You can predefine all of these fields, which will save you a ton of time in the long run. And then how about run a script? Maybe it's a script that cleans up temp files. We have a community script library. You don't even have to write most of your own scripts. You can just grab them, clean up temp files. But the real power here too, we have a built-in PowerShell module. So you can actually run a script that cleans up temp files, but then logs 30 minutes in that ticket. And based upon the reoccurring invoice that I just showed you, that could automatically pull that ticket charge right onto the invoice. You literally just charged your customer without even having to touch the machine. This could have all happened overnight. You didn't even have to touch anything. So, I mean, you can continue, you can see there's additional actions here. So it's pretty incredible, the things that you can streamline with Syncro. And the reason that you can do that within Syncro is because it's a combined RMM and PSA tool built together from the ground up. As you can see, I'm not logging out of one thing to get to another. I'm on automated remediation right here, which the condition is based upon an RMM alert. Now, on the flip side of that, you can actually go to, and again, not logging out of anything, you can hop right over into the tickets portion and set up a ticket automation. So now the difference between automated remediation is the condition is triggered by an RMM event. Ticket automations are more based upon the PSA side, what's happening in the ticket, what's happening with our customers. So with that said, I'll just give you a quick sneak peek here. So this is like, what are the conditions here? One thing that I really like is that you can set these little automations up to make sure that your customers are getting the attention that they need, depending, of course, what the ticket is. But for example, you could have an automation set up that if this ticket has not been updated in 4 hours, for example, you want that to automatically, as a company, we use Slack. So like my go-to, I want to post this in Slack. Hey, everybody, heads up, this ticket has not been touched. And of course, like you can see, you can grab any of these tags and pop them right into that message. So everyone can be notified this is going on. You could have it reassign, I can show you a couple different actions here, but there's a lot of different things that you can do. So it's saving you time. You don't have to be thinking about, you're at a kid's football game and all of a sudden you realize, oh my gosh, I didn't update that ticket. By setting this up ahead of time, nothing's going to fall through the cracks. So this is really powerful. Okay, so let me take a step back again. Let's hop over here. That's talking about, automating your processes, making yourself faster. The idea here behind making yourself faster and the power behind that is that if you could automate a good amount of your processes, think about the things that it gives you time to do. So maybe it is growing your MSP. Maybe that's what your goal is. And now you just opened up hours of your week to go sell, go get yourself more clients, figure out, what all security, packages you need to sell your customers. You can be really business mindset. You can have like that amount of time to really, really throw right back into your business. Hey, maybe your MSP is exactly where you want it. And those 3 hours allowed you, more time earlier home with the family, with friends, whatever that looks like. It's really, really important. So I again, like I said, I think this is the area that I probably can continue to go on, but for the sake of time, I will keep moving. So now let's talk about how are we delivering support, and how can we do that to really keep our customers from churning? Like, how do we make sure that, if I get them to sign a month-to-month contract or an annual contract, how am I going to continue to make sure that I'm retaining those clients? How are they going to remember me? How are they going to, feel protected and trusting what I'm doing? So one of those things that I, have learned in life and in sales and in all things, that if you can't get a hold of who you need to get a hold of when you need to go to hold of them, you do start to lose trust. So how do we set that up so that your customers can get a hold of you? Now, we do this in a few really amazing ways. So let's go ahead. I'm going to show chat first. So this is not your ordinary chat module. This chat was built specifically for MSPs. We built this from the ground up with that MSP mindset. What does an MSP need to know? What do they need to do with the chat? So like there's a lot of unique things here that, again, if you have a different chat platform, great. But definitely take a look at this because there's some really amazing things here. And again, when we're talking about being as efficient as possible, so say Larry wants to start a conversation with me. I will show you how to do this, but they use the system tray icon. They can actually just go to the little icon that is customizable. It's got your little business logo on it. They can click it and they can say chat. Or you can actually customize what it says, talk with Joe, whatever you'd want it to say. They can start a chat with you. It'll automatically, come into the platform looking like this. What's amazing is it's got your asset attached. You can see what contact is assigned. So if you need to if you can tell right away, oh, I got to call this person. You got all of their information here. You don't have to go look up the customer. It's right here. You also have the ability to just log right in and remote right into their machine. You can use some backgrounding tools as well. And then of course, this is the main thing when it comes to like increasing that bottom dollar. I wonder how many times you take a phone call or quickly help someone and you don't log it in a ticket or you don't log that time. We try to make that super simple here so you can create a ticket straight from this chat. This chat context will actually just append right to the ticket. So you have all the information that you need. You can help your customer. They feel confident. They have direct line to you. That can be really, really powerful. So with this said, what this looks like, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to hop over to policies really quickly. I want to show you how you can set this up. So this has to do with the agent contact, like the actual system tray icon. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm just going to grab any policy here. And I'm going to scroll down. Within Syncro, your policies are what is managing your entire, the endpoint. It's telling it what it's alerting on and what it's not. It's also managing the system tray icon. So this is customizable. If you want one system tray icon for one organization, one for another, meaning maybe you have an organization that you would not want to put a live chat agent on their endpoint. Like that would just be overwhelming. It wouldn't make any sense. You don't want it. You don't have to have it. But if you do, this is where I was saying, like, you can say, chat with me. I mean, whatever you want it to be. But also what's kind of nice is that depending on the customer, you can also assign it specifically to a specific technician based upon the customer and the policy that's assigned to those endpoints. And then you can also do an unavailable message. So what this is going to do is say you're away from your computer and it's been 3 minutes, they're going to get a message from you that says, hey, I'm out of the, or like whatever you'd want to say. Maybe I'm away from my desk for a moment, I'll get back to you right away. If this is an emergency, call my cell phone number. Who knows, whatever you'd want to put there, you can have an unavailable message. Now, in addition to that, this system tray icon is one of my favorite things within the platform because as you can see, I've got one option. You can have them go straight to their online customer portal. From there, they could view tickets, they could pay a bill. They could do a lot of things from their customer portal. But in addition to that, we also have these agent contact forms. Now, this is a way for your customers to create a ticket straight from that system tray icon. You can have different contact form policies as well. So, you could have different options here, whether it was like an emergency and you wanted to have specific fields there. So keeping in mind what I did just here, if I hop, let's just go right back to the top because I want to show you here if I head back to, let's just go back to that main policies page, because I want to show you, if you go to agent contact forms, this is where you can customize those contact forms. So depending on what it might be, say it's just a general support request. Let me just show you what this looks like. This is where it's customizable. So you can have it called whatever you want. Then what you can do is essentially, like, it's gonna have these fields, but you can customize like the light writing that's there, explaining to them what they need to fill out essentially. In addition to that, you can require certain things. So what's nice about the agent contact form is if there is a contact assigned to the asset, it'll pre-fill all of these things. If there's not a contact assigned, you can say, I want to require like all of it. I want to require email and phone. Because nothing's worse than getting a request from a company that have 100 people and they don't fill that out and you have no idea who requested this. So then, of course, you can even, what's nice is that on the back end, based upon the policy that's assigned to, you can have these tickets automatically assigned to a specific technician. You could say, okay, if they select the agent contact form that's called support request, when it comes into the actual platform, I want this to just come in as the ticket type of remote support. You can even add like a custom field type if you'd like, but this is you adding this. So by them self-selecting that it's a support request, you can then choose which kind of ticket it would be when it comes into the system. So it's quite incredible there what you can do with that system tray icon. And again, it's just all about allowing your customers to get a hold of you and in a way that makes sense. Of course, we do have the traditional setups where you can set up an inbox within Syncro. So I'm just going to show just super quick. If I head over to mailboxes, I'm just going to go into one just because it's neat to see the settings here. If someone, emails your support at, for example, you can choose when you want this to create a ticket, always or only for existing customers. So if that customer exists within the platform, it's going to automatically create a ticket for you. So you can see that as I'm showing you these different things, like, yes, I'm talking about how can your customers get a hold of you. I'm also talking about how do we make this as easy as possible for you? You can enable after hours autoresponders. You can send, the respective autoresponders as well. You can even override some of those things also from here. So there's some just really, really amazing ways to make sure that your customers feel taken care of. They know that you will take care of whatever they have going on because you're there, you're being supportive, you're being interactive, and you're available. This is like the biggest thing I find with being able to retain your clients. You need to be available for them. So we try to make that as easy as possible. All right, so let's talk about, how many tools we're using as MSPs on a given day. I think the list it's kind of crazy. So a lot of times you might be using something for an RMM, something totally different for a PSA. You might be billing out of an accounting software, say QuickBooks or Xero. Then you might have like a credit card processing company, even something that's third party that's connected to that. The list goes on, right? You have to have antivirus. You've got to continue backups, all of these things that you might have very separate softwares that may or may not talk to each other. This is where Syncro really, really shines. It allows you to take a real audit of all of the things that you're using on a daily basis and really try to consolidate those things. So with Syncro, for $129 per month per technician, you get unlimited endpoints. And as I've mentioned, you get the RMM, the PSA, you get billing, all of the automations that we've talked about, scripting. It's absolutely incredible. If I hop over here, you can just see it based upon this top ribbon here, all of the things you have access to. You can build estimates out of here. You have customer portal, full customer management. So you can really start to audit, hey, why am I using this software and why am I paying that much per month for something that doesn't talk to something else? And it actually ends up taking you more and more time. I find this happens so often. We're talking on the phone and it's like this epiphany moment. I could get rid of this, I could get rid of that. And then all of a sudden we're saving hundreds of dollars, up to, sometimes thousands of dollars a month, by using a software that is combined and consolidated. There's a ton of power there. It really can, I think, when you're using a tool that's working for you, you can really, again, make sure that you are earning and bringing in all of those dollars that you're putting such hard work into. We can try to simplify that for you. We can make your life easier. You can really start to bring in that reoccurring revenue and save as much time as you possibly can with something like Syncro. Thank you so much. I think that's the presentation that I would like to offer today. And Frank, I would love to answer any questions if there is any.
Yeah, guys, so if you have any questions, now would be the time. So you have that questions tab there on your screen. Feel free to jot down a question. We have a little bit of extra time here, which is really nice. We don't always get that. So if you have some specific questions, if there's things that you're wondering about, if there's things that you're using today that you're wondering if maybe there's opportunities for you to use something like Syncro to get the same effect, feel free. So if you have any questions, this would be a great time to do that. So we'll give you about a minute here to type any of those questions. I know you also mentioned, Crystal, that you had some things they could potentially download and stuff like that. So maybe you want to go over those while we're waiting to see if anyone has any questions.
Yes, indeed. So it looks like, Frank, I'm not sure if I can post a chat to the entire group. I sent a chat to you with the link. So you'll be entered to win a mug, and then you'll also be able to download this really, really helpful sheet that just walks through in far more detail than I did, of how to improve, your bottom line. Frank, are you able to see that? Okay, perfect. I just see that coming through to the chat. Thank you. Perfect. So yes, if you just click on that, you can fill it out, enter to win an awesome mug, and some really great information that you can take with you. And what I love so much about the thoughts of this and how we're thinking about MSPs and saving time, and bringing in more money, whether you're using Syncro or not, there's some really, really helpful nuggets, helpful tools. So I definitely recommend downloading this sheet for sure.
Yeah, also, I noticed that was kind of the link came out a little weird. I don't know if it's clickable or not, but you might have to copy and paste that um, into your URL window there on your browser.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it did paste a little.
yeah, that
Weird.
came out. So you guys should have a chat feature there as well on your GoToWebinar control panel. If you look there and you just copy that entire link address and then just drop that into your URL window. And then, yeah, I mean, is that if they want more info or anything like that, is that what they should do, or is there another place for them to go, or can they email someone, that sort of thing?
Yeah, I think that's definitely like a place to get more information, but you can absolutely email me directly. It's Crystal, CRYSTAL, at syncromsp.com. I'd happy to answer any and all questions.
Oh, awesome. And someone mentioned that it clicked just fine, so that's great. So yeah, if it clicked fine, that's cool.
Perfect.
All right. Well, it doesn't look like we have any questions. That's great. I guess you provided them all the information they needed. Guys, if you have anything and just don't feel like asking it here, feel free to reach out to Crystal and her team, and they'll help you out. I definitely appreciate everyone joining us today. Crystal, do you have anything else?
No, other than saying thank you so much. It's always such a pleasure to join you, Frank, and I appreciate the time, and I hope everyone has a wonderful day and stays safe and healthy.
All right. Thanks so much for the information. Thanks for joining, everyone. And until next time, we'll talk to you then. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.